Today, we're diving into something wild. We're talking about how one single photograph, snapped from inside a fighter jet's cockpit, has become this huge flashpoint between China and Taiwan. It's not just a picture, it's the start of a whole new kind of war, a war of images and narratives.
And that's the big question, right? In a world filled with high-tech military gear and carefully scripted propaganda, can a single, raw photo actually change anything? Well, as we're about to see, the answer is a big, resounding yes.
And this is exactly why. This quote, it just gets right to the heart of it. This wasn't some kind of drill or a practice run. No, this was a live, real-world encounter where the only thing separating a tense face-off from an all-out act of war was the press of a single button. The stakes just don't get any higher than that.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's break down what exactly was happening in the skies over the Taiwan Strait that led to this unbelievably tense moment.
First off, we need to be really clear on what a missile lock-on actually is. The photo we're talking about shows one jet's targeting system completely fixed on another plane. And listen, this isn't just some kind of warning shot. It's literally the final step a pilot takes right before firing a missile. If you're a pilot, seeing that lock-on symbol is probably the scariest thing in the world.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, the matchup itself. You've got Taiwan's F-16 Viper, which is a very capable jet, but it's an older American-made design. And on the other side, you have China's J-16, a much more modern, top-of-the-line fighter. The fact that this older F-16 got a clean, undeniable missile lock on the newer J-16, wow, that was a huge statement. It basically suggested that China's Air Force might not be the invincible giant it projects itself to be.
And almost instantly, you see the conflict just jump from the sky right onto our screens. Taiwan's military proudly pushed the photo out everywhere, a crystal clear message about their capabilities. But on the flip side, the image was reportedly completely scrubbed from Chinese social media. And that reaction, that censorship, tells you everything you need to know about how much impact it had.
But, this whole mid-air showdown didn't just happen out of nowhere. To really get why these two jets were even in the same patch of sky, we have to zoom out and look at the much bigger picture of what China was up to at the time.
So this is the key question, right? The lock-on was a reaction. But what was it a reaction to? Well, it turns out it was Taiwan's direct answer to one of the biggest shows of military force the region has ever seen.
China had launched these massive military exercises they called Justice Mission 2025. And let's be clear, this wasn't just a practice drill. This was a full-on, large-scale simulation of an actual invasion. The Chinese military completely surrounded Taiwan, they were firing live missiles, and they were showing off the full power of their army, navy, and air force. The message couldn't have been clearer. We are ready to invade.
So with China projecting this overwhelming force, the battle quickly shifted from the sea and the sky to our screens and social media feeds. This is what our source material calls narrative warfare, and it's fascinating.
And this table just lays out the two completely different strategies perfectly. On one side, you have Taiwan, grounded in reality, in the here and now. They release one real photo, a verifiable fact, to send a message of immediate readiness and calm resolve. It's a move to reassure their own people. But China's response? They pivoted completely to the future, to fantasy. Instead of dealing with the lock-on, they flooded the internet with these AI-generated videos of a futuristic invasion, full of robots and drones. They weren't trying to argue about today, they're trying to create an image of inevitable dominance tomorrow.
And you have to remember, for Taiwan, this was just as much about their own people as it was about China. By releasing that photo, the government was basically speaking directly to its citizens, saying, look, despite all the threats, we are capable, we are ready, and we will not panic. It was a really smart move to build confidence and morale for a nation living under constant pressure.
China's countermove was to just sidestep the present completely. Instead of even acknowledging the F-16 lock-on, state media just put out this blitz of AI videos. They were pure propaganda theater, showing off swarms of futuristic drones and robot soldiers. The goal was to totally change the conversation, to project an image of such overwhelming technological superiority in the future that today's success by an F-16 would just seem irrelevant.
So this war of images, it's way more than just a PR battle. It's a little window into a really dangerous, escalating situation. And it begs the question, where does this all lead? Well, the analysis in our source material lays out a pretty startling chain reaction, a series of geopolitical dominoes that could fall way faster than any of us think.
And the predicted timeline, well, it's alarmingly fast.
The analysis suggests that a major military move by China on Taiwan could happen as soon as 2026. If that happens, it would so dramatically upset the balance of power that it would probably force Japan to make a historic, world-changing decision. The prediction is that Tokyo would almost immediately announce its plan to get nuclear weapons, basically as a matter of survival. And by 2028, just 2 years later, Japan could be a new nuclear power, completely shattering decades of policy in Asia.
And really, that's the bottom line here. This isn't just about one island's sovereignty. A real, hot conflict over Taiwan could be the single trigger that unleashes a wave of nuclear proliferation across the region. And the result could be something the world has spent over 70 years trying to prevent: a brand new, high-stakes nuclear arms race in East Asia. That would completely rewrite the rules of global security.
So we're left with this really unsettling question, aren't we? That one photograph of a missile lock-on was a snapshot of a single moment in the present. But it might have also given us a glimpse into a much more dangerous and uncertain future. And what happens next in this war of narratives could very well decide whether that future becomes our reality.